Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on the latest developments taking place in Egypt and the Gulf states, as today we have witnessed the arrival of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the Gulf state of Qatar, as well as the talks that took place between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Emir of Qatar today on different fields and in different criteria. We'll be focusing on the possible fields of cooperation between Egypt and Qatar, as well as the possible cooperation and the fields of coordination between Egypt and Kuwait. Another visit that will be taking place tomorrow for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the Gulf state of Kuwait, and we will be starting straight away with the main top stories. But first of all, let me say hello to the guest for tonight at the studio, Dr. Amr Hamid, the Professor of Economics. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. We will be starting straight away, as I mentioned, with the top stories for today and for tomorrow, as well as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held talks with the Qatari Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, upon his arrival in the Qatari capital, Doha. The talks touched on enhancing bilateral ties in different fields, in addition to the regional developments, notably those pertaining to the Palestinian cause, and the efforts for returning to a ceasefire deal in the Gaza Strip. The two sides also tackled the Egyptian reconstruction plan for Gaza. As part of the visit, the President will be meeting representatives of the Qatari business community on the opportunities for the future economic cooperation. The head of state will later head to Kuwait, the second leg of the Gulf tour. The visit comes to highlight the depth of the strategic ties between Egypt and the Gulf states, and both parties' keenness on expanding the horizons of the economic and the investment cooperation. As the presidential spokesman, Ambassador Mohammed al-Shenawi, stated that the head of state will be heading to Kuwait in the second leg of the Gulf tour, as the visit comes to highlight the depth of the strategic ties between the two brotherly countries and to stress the joint keenness on expanding the horizons of economic and the investment cooperation. In Kuwait, President al-Sisi is expected to meet with the brother Sheikh Mash'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Sabah, Prince of Kuwait, as well as the Sheikh Sabah Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Crown Prince, and Sheikh Fahd Yusuf Saud Al-Sabah, the first deputy of the Prime Minister, Minister of Interior, and the acting Prime Minister. Dr. Amr, as we did see over the two top stories for today and for tomorrow as well, the visit of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for Qatar, the talks that took place between President al-Sisi and the Emir of Qatar, as well as the visit that will be taking place tomorrow for President al-Sisi to Kuwait, and the talks that will be taking place between President al-Sisi and the Prince of Kuwait as well. How do you see the importance and the timing of such a visit to the Gulf states?
I think the timing is very important, and I would like to relate it to two important parameters.
Yes.
Number one, the turmoil or what's happening in the whole world as a result of the economic measures undertaken by President Trump and their effect on the region. Because at the end of the day, from my perspective, I can see that it's a great opportunity for our region. And when I say our region, I mean the Arab countries together. So, because most of the Arab countries, as your audience know, are affected by only 10%, which is the minimum of the custom duties measures that Trump imposed. So if you compare it to the big countries like China, for example, of the European countries,
that was the main aim.
It's exactly.
Yes.
So I think it represents a great opportunity because it's only 10%. And if we can manage as Arab countries, if I may call it, I would expect something like a regional economic integration to take place between the Arab countries, and this should be one of the aims of the visit of the President to the Gulf area. Yes, it is only this time it's Qatar and Kuwait, but I mean our economic relations with UAE is already established, and already there are a lot of visits, and the same goes for Saudi Arabia as well. So now the focus is on Qatar and Kuwait, but I hope that the main aim behind this scene is a regional economic integration of the Arab countries together to face this new, if I may call it, new world order imposed by President Trump on the whole world. But again, for us as Arab countries together, I believe this is the right time to move, because it's a great opportunity to establish this kind of unity, economic unity together, and take advantage. I can give you a quick example if you want. For example, already the relationship, the custom duties relationship between America and China, for example, it's too high. So why not establish an interim zone, industrial zone and commercial zone in the Middle East, maybe Egypt, okay, maybe the Suez Canal area, or maybe other industrial zones or free zones in Egypt, with the help and assistance and finance of the Arab countries, which already started to take advantage of the much lower custom duties imposed on Egypt vis-a-vis China. So you can always attract Chinese
as a replacement for what is happening.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
a quick replacement.
That's a nice way to put it. Yeah, I would agree. As a replacement, or an interim, or an interim commercial, industrial hub, if I may call it, to enhance and to boost the commercial relationship between this new Arab region and Arab integration with the biggest market in the whole world, which is the American market.
Yes, Doctor, allow me to be going to the first report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on exactly what you are saying. Egypt and Qatar in terms of the cooperation in the field of economy and the investment opportunities for the Qatari businessmen in the Egyptian market. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned. Egypt and Qatar are keen on boosting cooperation in various fields by maximizing the investments. During their meeting in Cairo, the Qatari Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani affirmed to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi Qatar's keenness on making use of the broad range of investment opportunities available in Egypt. Since Al-Ula Agreement, Egypt and Qatar have worked on restoring relations in various fields, including the economic ties. In 2022, Egypt and Qatar signed an MOU in Doha on financial policy coordination to foster cooperation and coordinate the financial visions, positions and policies at the bilateral and the international levels. On the sidelines of the Qatari Economic Forum, the Egyptian Minister of Industry and Trade agreed with the Qatari counterpart on reactivating the Egyptian-Qatari Business Council. Industrial partnerships between Egypt and Qatar reached 4,500 Egyptian and Qatari companies. In March of 2022, Cairo and Doha agreed on a $5 billion in Qatari investments in Egypt during a visit by the Qatari Minister of Foreign Affairs and Deputy Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani to the Egyptian capital. The agreement embodies the progress that the Egyptian-Qatari relations have gone through and paves the path for developing the bilateral relations between the two countries in various fields. This comes within the framework of advancing the interests of both countries and their sincere mutual intentions. The Egyptian and Qatari sides have agreed on enhancing the bilateral cooperation in various fields, especially in the energy and the agricultural sectors. This is in addition to enhancing the cooperation regarding investment, trade exchange and the flow of the Qatari investments to Egypt. Sheikh Tamim widely praised the Egyptian policies under President Sisi at all the international, regional and the domestic levels, as a statement said. Sheikh Tamim also hailed the Egyptian community's contribution in the process of construction and development in the Qatari state in different fields. There are nearly 230,000 Egyptians working and living in Qatar, according to the latest estimations. The Emir expressed appreciation for the Egyptian pivotal role in serving the Arab issues and the efforts to enhance the Arab solidarity at all levels. Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Ambassador Hazem Khairat, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Good evening, Mr. Ahmed, and good evening for the staff of the Night International. It's my pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. Of course, today we have seen the visit of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Qatar on the political level. How do you see the importance and the timing of it, especially after holding talks in Doha with the Qatari Emir Tamim bin Hamad?
Well, my first comment or remark regarding this visit is that this is a response to all attempts by Israel to drive a wedge between Arab brothers.
Yes.
Egypt is committed to continuing its joint effort with Qatar to achieve a ceasefire, end the war, and stop the bloodshed of the Palestinian people.
Yes.
It is sufficient that this Egyptian-Qatari effort has an integrative motivation and integrative motivation, and not competitive as it was in the past, when the relation was not in good shape between both countries. The agenda of President Sisi includes meeting with the representative of Qatari business community to discuss opportunities for economic cooperation and in the bilateral field as well.
Yes.
Qatari investment in Egypt reached around, according to what I remember, 619 million dollars during the fiscal year 2003-2004. And the Egyptian investment in Qatar reached around 170 or maybe some little more $million. And the value of remittance from Egyptian working in Qatar reached about $810 million during the fiscal year 23-24.
Yes.
So I think the timing is very important of this visit, and also politically it has many signals, it has many important signs about the cooperation between the two countries. We are in a very sensitive time, and we're talking about the deal that is going on, and I think the cooperation between the two leaders of the country, or the coordination and consultation, is very, very extremely important.
Yes, Ambassador Khairat, as you mentioned, the reconstruction plan of the Gaza Strip, one of the main ideas by Egypt and the Arab states, as well as Egypt and Qatar being two mediators between Hamas and the Israeli occupation forces, to be finding a truce, to be finding a ceasefire that was taking place over the past couple of weeks. How do you see the role of Egypt and Qatar in the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip, the conference that will be taking place here in Cairo?
I think it is very, very important. Both countries are extremely important, because you have Egypt, who had the plan and who did all the efforts, and Qatar also has an experience. And of course, the most important thing is financing the project. And I think Qatar can play an important role with the Gulf countries and with other countries and with international monetary organizations and finance organizations for the finance, which I consider this is one of the main problems of this project. Not the main problem. The main problem is always Israel.
Yes.
But I'm talking about this is one of the main problems. On the other hand, the point is, I think that the Egyptian-Qatari cooperation and coordination are very, very useful, very important. But the problem, as I told you, the problem is the reaction of Israel. Israel is trying by all all the means to put obstacles in this project and to let the Gaza Strip inviable for living, and so that all the Palestinians who want to immigrate or to leave, let's say, voluntary. And of course, it's not voluntary.
Yes.
So it's forced. And what I'm saying is that we have to continue this coordination. By any means, and we have also to get more involved with the United States administration, which has the upper hand and can press on Netanyahu to find a solution, because what he is doing is unhuman.
Yes, Ambassador Hazem Khairat, the former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the daily debate. Dr. Amr Hamid, of course, we were speaking about the political level of the visit of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Qatar, but what about the fields of cooperation in investment and the economy between Egypt and Qatar?
If you don't mind, before we go into this very important question, let me just make a quick shed on the very interesting discussion with His Excellency Ambassador Khairat.
Yes.
Because on the 7th of February, I have personally sent an economic letter addressed to President Trump in light of his first initiative. And I received an authentication from the White House that my letter was received.
Yes.
It's basically very much related to what has been mentioned now by His Excellency the Ambassador and yourself. The idea is that if we are going to reconstruct Gaza from an economic standpoint, my letter to President Trump focused on one point, that yes, we would love to see, as he wanted, a Riviera in this area, but my letter focused on something very important, that it has to be rebuilt by the Palestinians, the people of Gaza.
And for the Palestinians.
And for the Palestinians.
No displacement.
And for the rest of the world.
Yes.
But we're not going to get Asian labor force to establish, to reconstruct Gaza. But the Palestinians can do that, and this was the focus of the letter. So I hope that the visit of today to Qatar and to the area again, to the Gulf area by the President, should focus on the important role of Qatar, of course, with Egypt, in trying to convince President Trump that, yes, we are for all his ideas, but it has to be done, reconstructed by the people of Gaza themselves for the rest of the world, as even a gift from Gaza, from the Gazans, from the Palestinians in Gaza, in association, in coordination with President Trump himself. And that would be the gift of the Palestinians to the rest of the world, but it has to be done by them, not by anybody else.
And how did you see the stance of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Jordanian King Abdullah II in firmly rejecting the idea of the displacement of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip into Egypt and into Jordan?
This is exactly my point. This is the aim of the letter that I addressed to President Trump. That everything has to be done by the Palestinians themselves, of course. You cannot replace them. But now going back to your important question about the economic relationship between Qatar and Egypt, it's based on four major lines, economic activities. Number one is in the field of energy. Number two is in the field of industries. Number three is in the field of real estate and tourism. And number four is in the field of ports and digital infrastructure. So these are the main four cooperation sectors, if I may call them. In the first one, which is the energy, Qatar Energy holds about 23% stake in the offshore North Dab'a block. so with Chevron, which is a multinational company specialized in exploration. And then when we speak about industry, we're speaking about $1.5 billion investment, Qatari investment in the industrial sector. The third aspect, which is real estate and tourism, it's of course the Qatari investment is based in the north coast and in the new administrative capital.
Yes.
And then the ports and digital infrastructure, mainly the establishment of data centers. If you want, I can even give you examples,
yes,
very
sure,
important examples, like
yes.
projects already established, like for example the Citygate Citygate project in New Cairo. It is established by DR company, which is a Qatari.
We wouldn't want to name or mention the names
it's
of the
okay.
projects.
Yeah,
yes.
well, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about 8 million square meters by this huge Qatari company. And then there is another hotel, which is one of the most famous hotels now in Cairo, overlooking the Nile. I'm not going to say the name.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, it's one of the. It's a 7-star hotel, and it's owned or established by another Qatari investment in Egypt. The third project now is another huge hotel, which is few steps from Maspero.
Yes.
And that's another project by another huge Qatari investment, Qatari entity. And this is a $320 million project. It's already established. It's an old, established 5-star hotel.
And this is in the field of infrastructure.
Tourism.
Tourism
You
and
can,
infrastructure.
of course, yeah.
But what about energy? Because Qatar is leading the way in the liquefied natural gas, and Egypt is an emerging market in this field.
Exactly, yeah. But what's very interesting is that the cooperation between Egypt and Qatar now in the field of energy is focused on green energy.
Yes.
Not on traditional energy, which is the specialty of Qatar, by the way. And this is the interesting aspect of it.
Yes.
So this is the new idea of... and then we have also a $1.5 billion project by Qataris in industrial investments, including, I'm not going to mention the name again, another huge Qatari company, one of the biggest 5 Qatari companies in the automotive sector in the Suez Canal area, by the way.
Yes.
And another project is the green hydrogen. The green hydrogen project in association with Qatar, we're speaking about $1 billion. That's another huge project. So this is the size of, more or less, a quick idea about the size of the Qatari-Egyptian cooperation in the field of economics in general.
Yes, Dr. Amr, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the investment opportunities between Egypt and Qatar in different fields. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned. Egypt and Qatar strengthen the economic ties with the investment opportunities. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli highlighted the diverse array of investment opportunities in tourism during a meeting with the Qatari Businessmen's Association delegation. These opportunities span the North Coast, Cairo, Nile front locations, the new administrative capital, and the other cities, offering promising prospects for the investors. Speaking at the 22nd edition of the Doha Forum 2024, Madbouli assured that the investors in these projects would benefit from the Golden License, facilitating the swift project implementation. He emphasized that the Egyptian-Qatari relations are currently at their strongest, with expectations for the enhanced cooperation and coordination in the near future. Efforts to boost the economic collaboration between the two nations are well underway. Madbouli acknowledged the interest of the Qatari businessmen in key sectors, including real estate, food security and tourism, and announced the availability of the ready-to-invest opportunities for discussion during the meeting. He also outlined the Egyptian recent economic reform measures, such as the currency exchange adjustments, the introduction of the golden license, tax reforms, and the range of incentives to attract the foreign investment. The Prime Minister provided the delegation with the comprehensive list of investment projects, inviting them to explore these opportunities further. The Qatari delegation expressed enthusiasm for partnering with the Egyptian companies in various countries, particularly in Africa. They welcomed the proposed investment opportunities and committed to conducting thorough studies to evaluate them. Earlier in March, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Migration met with the Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Qatar, during his visit to the Qatari capital, Doha. The two sides discussed the distinguished bilateral relations between the two brotherly countries and ways of strengthening and enhancing these ties across various sectors, especially through the efforts to develop the economic, commercial and the investment relations in line with the deep and strong ties between the two nations and their people. Both ministers also followed up on the outcomes of the Extraordinary Arab Summit held in Cairo and the extraordinary meeting of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, the OIC in Jeddah, which focused on supporting the Palestinian people. The meeting also covered ways of activating and implementing the Arab Islamic Plan for early recovery and the reconstruction of Gaza, as well as the steps to mobilize the necessary funding, particularly in light of the Egyptian hosting of the International Conference for the Reconstruction, in collaboration with the United Nations, the Palestinian government, and the donor countries and organizations. Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Amr Hamid, the Professor of Economics. Thank you very much once again, Doctor, for being with us tonight. We're speaking about the potential of the Qatari investments here in the Egyptian market. How do you see it for the future?
Frankly speaking, from my experience in the Gulf since ages, because I've been working in the Gulf since very long time, including Qatar, I can see very good opportunities for the Egyptian-Qatari economic relation to flourish, because up till now, Qatar, let's remember something, that Qatar is one of the richest countries on earth.
Yes.
Not only in terms of GDP, but in terms of per capita income, Qatar is maybe number 1 or number 2. So the idea, are we as Egypt taking our fair share from Qatar investments? The answer is not yet, for sure. Because, I mean, even compared to the Arab countries, Saudi Arabia and UAE, they come first, for sure, and then Kuwait, and then maybe Qatar. So I think that, and by the way, there is more than, as His Excellency Ambassador Hazem Khairat mentioned, there is more than 200,000 Egyptians working in Qatar, and that's a big number, yes, for Egyptians living abroad in general. And let's remember something else, that the 200,000 plus Egyptians working in Qatar are much wealthier than a lot of other Egyptians, yes, because the salaries in Qatar is one of the highest compared to all.
And the remittances that they send.
Of course, that's the point. So the idea is that yes, there is a lot of potential. In my opinion, the economic relations with Qatar, not only in terms of investments, but also in terms of trade, exports and imports, could not only triple, but maybe quadruple in a very short time if we focus more on the trade/economic relations specifically with Qatar. And this will come with appointing the right commercial/economic attaches from Egypt, yes, in Doha, Qatar. And I'm not speaking about individuals, I'm speaking about a system. So the idea is now that we should establish, I'm speaking now from the Egyptian standpoint, we should establish a system of technical economic experts to be based maybe in Qatar or in Dubai, let's say, but yes, I prefer Qatar at the moment, and they start boosting and enhancing the opportunities for business and for investments from Qataris in the Middle East.
And this leads us to a very
in Egypt. Sorry.
This leads us to a very important point that you mentioned, Doctor, at the beginning of the episode, which is the economic integration. We need a real economic integration between not just Egypt and Qatar, but, for example, President Al-Sisi will be heading to Kuwait as well on Monday.
Yeah.
So this means Egypt, Qatar, Kuwait. You mentioned the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia.
course.
This real economic integration, what are the repercussions of it in the future?
This is very important. That's a great opportunity, that a gift actually, that President Trump gave us.
Yes.
I'm sure he didn't mean it.
Yes.
But it's a gift actually.
We can use it.
We have to use it, and if you don't use it today, you're going to lose it. So it has to start today, not tomorrow, because the opportunity is now. Tomorrow, nobody can guarantee that it will stay. And by the way, let me take this advantage and beg all the Egyptian media, please stop speaking against President Trump. President Trump is giving us a gift. We have to use it today.
Economically.
Of course,
Yes.
economically, yes. Yeah. And the opportunity is there. Let's establish it quickly. And by the way, what is very important is that we already have the basic infrastructure for it. We have, I'm not speaking about Egypt now, I'm speaking about the main Arab countries, the old Arab countries. We have industrial zones already. We have established routes and highways connecting most of the countries together. We have already ports in Saudi Arabia, in the Gulf area, in UAE, in Qatar, in Egypt, already ports. We have airports. Maybe Egypt is not very strong in airports like Saudi Arabia and UAE and Kuwait maybe. But I mean the ports, we do have it. So the idea is the basic infrastructure is there. Do you want a surprise?
Yes.
We also have the organizations. We have the Organization of Economic Cooperation, which belongs to the Arab League, by the way. And it was established in 1964. Let's get it out of the box. And let it work today. We have the Union of Arab Chambers of Commerce, which is another entity that exists. And we have another entity of the Arab Industrial Cooperation and Mining. All these three and much more organizations already are there. So let's get them out of the box, because I don't know why they are put in a box. But they are there. And press the button and start working now. The only thing is that we are missing, and we need to explore it and try to find it, is the real expertise, technical people, technical economists that have the knowledge, the expertise, the know-how, and most important, the wisdom. This is really what we're missing, the people who can run this system of economic integration.
Yes.
And by the way, we can even export this expertise, because we're speaking about economics, not about politics. So there is nothing wrong with relying on foreign experts to tell us what to do, because this is the area that we only need to detect very quickly.
Yes, Dr. Amr Hamid, the Professor of Economics, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
My pleasure, thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. I will be leaving you, however, with the latest presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah Al-Sisi in the past week, all in the upcoming report. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi receives French President Emmanuel Macron within the framework of the high-level official visit paid by the latter to Egypt. Egyptian-Jordanian-French joint statement was issued at the close of the tripartite summit in Cairo on the dangerous situation in Gaza. Leaders of Egypt, Jordan and France hold a joint phone call to U.S. President Donald Trump on the sidelines of the tripartite summit held in Cairo on April 7, 2025. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and French President Emmanuel Macron participate in the closing session of the Egyptian-French Economic Forum held in Cairo. President el-Sisi and President Macron pay a visit to the Adli Mansour Interchange Central Underground metro station. President el-Sisi and French President Macron pay a visit to the city of Arish in North Sinai within the framework of the high-level official visit paid by the French President to Egypt. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi receives Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto as both leaders discuss ways to strengthen bilateral ties. The two leaders also tackle the latest developments in the region and ways of restoring stability in the Middle East.